I'm gonna head out over to Facebook, bring it in the group, and then we're good to go. Oops, somebody else pop on.
Mm-hmm. Hey. Hi,
Hey, Karen.
Hey, I made it.
I'm just connecting to Facebook.
Oh, perfect.
Yep.
I might have to hop off again, but hopefully I can be on here for a bit.
It's all good. All right, we are live on Facebook. Sorry this took me so long. It made me recreate my password and do all that stuff, so we're 11 minutes late. But I waited a little bit of time for everyone to pop on. We're here with Bobby, Anna, Jen, Kara, Lauren, and Karen. You guys can see everybody anyway. So we're going to talk, I was just saying, we're going to talk about goals. We're going to talk tonight all the way through the end of 2022. So we're going to do small goals. Quarter 4 starts tomorrow. So we're going to get ready for quarter 4, October through December. And then that brings us to 2021. We're going to talk about what we want to accomplish by the end of 2021. And then what we're going to accomplish by the end of 2022. So like I said, quarter 4 starts tomorrow. So you have 3 more months to kill it for 2020. I feel like everyone feels very deflated with 2020. They're like, can we just move on, please, to the next year? But finish out strong. If you get knocked down, you get right back up and you finish out strong. And I feel like I've said this, a bunch of times before, but try to make the best of it and use this opportunity to, change some stuff, grow a little bit, recreate and, think about what you want to do with your business going forward. So I think, my short-term goal from now until the end of December is launching a Mastermind series that I created. It's going to be a 5-week series. It's going to start mid-November. No, it's going to start beginning of November and go through mid-December. So it gives you time to go through those 5 weeks and then get everything, ready to go so you can kick ass starting in January. Not that you're not kicking ass now, but you can kick more, better, bigger ass. And then I think, so for me, for 2021, I will be working on a bigger course. So I just launched Business for Birth Professionals. I'll be working on a more comprehensive course that goes a little bit, into what you guys learned if you bought the Business for Birth Professionals, but it'll go more into marketing strategy. It'll go more into specifics on networking. So it'll be a way deeper dive into all of these subjects. Social media, digital courses, creating curriculum too. So teaching digital courses, teaching virtually, and then also teaching live. We'll talk about growth from being one person, possibly into an agency or a collective, or other ways to grow your business and stay, within whatever you're doing, whether it's labor, whether it's postpartum, whether it's lactation, childbirth ed, but still be able to grow. So that's my early 2021 goal. I'm leaving some room open for the end of 2021. And then, for me, by 2022, September, both of my little kids will be in kindergarten and first grade. So that will really open up time for me to be able to do things Monday through Friday and not be doing, most of my work at 10 p.m. So for me, for my goal for 2022 is to have a larger office space where I can work, run my agency, but also have a large space for all of my trainings. So I do postpartum doula and lactation educator trainings, and it requires, room for 10, 15 people. Anna knows, she teaches the same stuff I do, and she has gorgeous space out in Chicago. So I'll be modeling, not as big and nice as hers, but a little smaller scale. But just to have my own space for all the things I'm doing, and not, right now I rent hotel space, and I have a smaller office space, but it's basically for me and maybe one person who, counseling with breastfeeding or something. So that's my 2022 goals. And I know things will fall into all of that time between now and then. And I might change, some things, but those are my goals on paper. And I'm constantly figuring out how I'm going to, make all of that happen, what steps I need to take to reach, my small goal. So that I've been doing work on the Mastermind series for quite a bit of time now. And so that is all put into place, and that's sort of what I'm going to end 2020 with. And then, like I said, 2021, I've already started, working on that stuff too. So, I'm the purpose of this call was, I was saying earlier, I usually have, some slides or a presentation or something. And I really wanted this to be a lot of discussion. I want to hear your goals. I want to hear, the steps you have already to take them. And then, we can discuss additional steps, or, a lot of times I hear people say they have tons of ideas, and that's me too. I have tons of ideas. And sometimes I just have a hard time getting organized on paper, and I like to make a list and make little boxes next to it and sort of check things off. And it's hard for me to get things in like sequential order. So I have, 10 things I want to get done, but what makes the most sense to do first? And that could lead into something, that goes second. And I'm always switching them around and trying to figure out what makes sense. But I really try to work smart and not hard. I try to get things in an order where, by doing number one, it makes number two and number three easier, instead of, doing a lot of work on each one and then going back and be like, oh, I should have done that first. That made sense. And of course, you learn from, I've made those mistakes many times. But so just sort of figuring out what your goals are. We'll start with quarter 4. So now essentially, or tomorrow, until December 31st. Anna, I want to hear your short-term goal. Talk for all the goals here.
I have a lot. I mean, I don't know if it's possible, but I want for training wise, I'm planning on like having 15 in every training. We're getting there. I have,
Are you back in person or still doing virtual?
We're still doing virtual. So okay. I know that will happen. I have about 12 consistently. I actually had to close my training out because I ran out of books, and I, have to mail things out. So, so I have 12 coming up this weekend, and my goal is between 12 and 15 with every training, but ideally 15.
Yeah.
And then I have 2 beautiful spaces, actually, one in Chicago and one in Arizona. So, it's just, they've been on the back burner. So, I keep them. I plan on using them. I think they work well for a lot of reasons. And so I've just held on to them, even though I haven't been able to use them this year. But in terms of marketing, I feel like I still get a lot of walk-by traffic, professionalism. I think a lot of people recognize that we have an address. But I would love to see classes there, and I have lots of great ideas for those spaces, but I can't even think about it right now because I just don't know what's happening with COVID.
Now, how many things do you have left for this year?
How many goals?
How many trainings? How many trainings do you have?
How many trainings? So I have this weekend, I have 4.
Okay. So I think between 12 and 15, you already, if you're doing it that way, you already hit your goal for this weekend. So yeah, totally doable. And especially I think now, because things are virtual. I mean,
totally.
I had people from Virginia in my training last weekend, and, it's just nice that you have just a wider reach, and, people who have doula colleagues or, birthy colleagues in other states now can partner up and say, do it with me. And they don't have to actually like drive anywhere, which I think is so nice. So,
yeah. So then those are my maybe more personal-ish goals, and agency goals. They keep growing, but my goal, I know it sounds insane, but it's 1,000 postpartum hours a week for our agency, and then 50 births a month.
Nice. And is that your goal for like quarter 4? Or is that
That's my goal for, that would be my consistent goal for quarter 4. I think we're getting there. we're getting really close. So I keep upping it.
Very nice. Yeah. You know what? I feel like it's good to make these huge goals if you're on track, you know, even if you're showing smaller bursts of growth you're going to get there. You know, it's generally not, I mean, COVID, you know, threw us all for a loop, but once things are consistently growing, chances are they're going to continue because the word only spreads. I mean, if you're continuing to do a good job, you know, which we obviously know that you are, it can really only go up.
Right. I know I had the same goals I'm looking at them. I've had the same goals on my whiteboard for a long time. And then recently I've had to just keep changing them. So it's really awesome to like not only meet them, but then exceed them and then be like, okay, I'm going to, you know, write a bigger one.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's, you know, finish out your Q4 and then make your 2021 goals.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I mean, I made a big, like a by the end of 2021 goal, even though I have a few things, you know, that are sort of happening throughout. There are a few things that I wanted to see 100% by 2021. So, you know, I could have made like quarterly goals, but I like to make a bigger goals and then just do what I need to do to work towards them. We had this conversation in my Lactation Educator training. We were talking about, you know, when you work with clients with breastfeeding goals, like, do you make a long-term goal or do you just say, you know, this is the goal for the next 3 days? And it so depends on your personality. I need an end goal. I need to see like what the ultimate goal is. And then I will personally find a way to get there. I don't want a goal for like the next week and then another one for the next week. And that's not how I operate, but some people operate on smaller goals so they can see the success, you know, and then it ends up being the bigger one, but that it happens not to be the way I, you know, work best. So I think, you know, figuring out for everyone here and everyone who's listening, figuring out how you work best to reach those goals, what is the way you're best motivated. And I think for a lot of people, seeing a very big goal for like the next 12 months sort of psychs them out. And then they feel like they can never reach that. And then it trips them up for the, you know, in between. So maybe smaller, you know, more attainable goals for that person. So it really is just dependent on, you know, how you operate. Kara, what do you have for I know you have some good ones. I've heard them. What do you have from now until December? Kara has so much going on right now.
I had to make a list of things because like I feel like I was doing so much, trying to do so much at one time. I've been feeling overwhelmed for the past couple of weeks, but I've taken a step back and I've pushed some things to the side so that I could pretty much concentrate things on one by one. So
I forget, are you in Chicago?
Yes.
Okay, Anna, Kara's in Chicago. I knew that. Okay.
So I just finished the Lactation Educator training through Kappa. I did that this weekend. And so I'm almost done with my Childbirth Educator training as well. So I want to get those done and those be out the way.
Okay.
And then I'm taking the Postpartum Doula training with Anna in a couple of weeks.
Okay. Each other.
Yeah, so I want to do that, and then I have another training to get through. So that pretty much those are my goals until the end of this year, is to get those done, and then put those to the side and add something else back in.
And then, so your goal is to finish the certification process on all 4 of those?
Yes. Okay,
so you could potentially start, you know, or you will, not potentially, you will start 2021 as a certified postpartum doula, lactation educator, childbirth educator? Can't remember what you said.
Yeah. Yes. Childbirth. Yeah.
I can't remember either.
I know.
That's fantastic. That is, I mean, you're going to kill it in the last quarter of 2020 and then start off 2021 as a certified everything and then just start growing from there. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And 2020 was a really good time, at least for me too, to just take a lot of trainings. I did a lot of virtual trainings. I, you know, purchased quite a few digital courses and took them. And not that I had a ton of extra time to do it, but I felt like that was just the way things were moving, were online. And I really started enjoying like the 10 p.m. time slot to put my headphones on and sometimes grab a notebook, sometimes just get into bed and do like a ton of learning. And I never did that before. I never did that before COVID. I really was like, I don't like things online. Like I like to be, you know, and now I love them. Now I see the value in it. I love doing things digitally because I can listen to it once, you know, get the big picture. I can go back, take some notes. I can listen to it in the car or when I'm walking with the kids or the dog or whatever. And before, it's like you take this training where you sit in and then you have to like write furiously and you hope to remember lots of stuff. And, you know, you leave super excited, but a little overwhelmed. And I'm finding things, you know, virtually and digitally are amazing. And I'm retaining so much more information. Lauren, what do you got going on? I feel like you have a lot too. You're like a California Cara.
Yeah, I am in the middle of two sleep training courses.
Mm-hmm.
I've recently finished 2 NCS courses and I'm in the middle of another one. So yeah, I'm doing like 3 courses right now. So definitely finishing off those is a big goal. And I'm also trying to focus in on like branding, figuring out, I had a business name in mind and then I kind of decided I didn't like it because it wasn't really all encompassing. It was more like a sleep consultant name, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I know, you know, already like to begin with, I'm an NCS and sleep consultant. So already it doesn't fit with what I want to do, but it doesn't fit with, you know, and a lot of my future goals either. So I'm just gonna start focusing in on, you know, trying to figure out a name, what I'm all about, my brand, colors, all that.
So you have 3 months to, you know, continue doing NCS stuff, get all your sleep consultant stuff, you know, all your sleepy ducks in a row, get some branding, you know, name and logo, and then be ready for, you know, January to hit and, you know, hit the ground running.
Yeah, it's a lot. I'm all over the place.
Yeah. Now, do you have time like each day to sit and work on this, or you're sort of doing bits and pieces? Because I find that, you know, bits and pieces are great for some people, but other people need like, you know, certain times where they're sitting down with their pen and paper or their computer. And the only way that they make progress is during those times.
Sure. Yeah, I sit down for like a good few hours about twice a week, and then the rest is bits and pieces. So it's, you know, what I can do.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, just, I think you have 3 months and I think the sleep consultant stuff, you know, you can get through. I think it might be the branding and all that stuff that, you know, takes time, and that can be a work in progress. You know, I feel like if you have a decent place for people to look at what you're doing, whether it is, you know, Instagram or a Facebook page or a website or any of those things, you know, the rest can sort of fall into play, but you just want to make sure that people are finding you and you're connecting, you know, with them too, and getting the word out there that you are, you know, ready to roll, and your logo will come at, you know, some point. You'll change, you know, your Instagram thing from your face to your logo or whatever. But that, I think, you know, the knowledge part is happening, and then the rest will come in time.
Totally.
Bobby, you're next. As you're yawning up there. What do you got for the next 3 months?
So I just finished actually I got notification that I passed my postpartum doula certification.
Yay! Congratulations!
Still working toward thank you. Labor doula certification. That one is tougher because with COVID you can't, we're still not allowing anybody in our hospitals.
Where are you? You're Michigan. You're in Michigan. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm not sure about lower Michigan, but here we went into effect later than everywhere else. So like everybody went into effect downstate like in March. and we just went into effect here in, I want to say late July or August. So that's been rough. The last couple of moms that I've had, I haven't been able to actually attend. I have one in November and one in January, but that's not looking promising either. And then my childbirth educator certification, I have just a few things to finish up for that, mainly the lesson plans. The student teaching I have scheduled for October, so that'll be one thing less. And then I have my new parent educator training in December, so that'll be.
I love how everyone is like just engulfed in multiple birth trainings right now. That's amazing. That's amazing.
There really is there are no options here for, at least within a 2-hour radius of me, for any of that. And the program that I do at work currently is, I work with a lot of young moms in their prenatal, postnatal, and birth to 5. So I've been really fortunate that the program that I'm doing is covered under a grant, but they've covered everything with my training so far.
That's amazing.
And then my lactation specialist training I actually did through, I don't remember the name of the program, but it was before I knew about Kappa. So, so I'm a lactation specialist, just not through Kappa. Eventually I'd like all of my things to be through there, so it's all in one area.
Now so for the rest of the year, for the next 3 months, do you want to finish up the certifications, or what do you have?
I do, and I also want to start my own business, like get that up and running.
Yep.
I would like to, like early 2021, be able to just be on my own.
And do that full time, or stay with your current job and do it part time, and eventually.
I'd like to do this full time.
Okay. All right. And do you have a date in mind? Is it end of 2021, beginning of 2021, middle?
I'm gonna shoot for the middle, but I would love it to be the beginning. I just don't know that it'll happen that soon. I did decide on a business name, and I'm going Friday to register that. I did contact somebody about doing my logo, but I'm still waiting to hear back from them. So once I get that done, then I'll start like business cards and those kinds of things. So I'd like to have all of that done by the end of 2020.
And do you have a website or Facebook or Instagram, somewhere where people you can reach out, connect, and they can find you?
No, that's another thing on my list here for the end of 2020. I would like to do that soon, but I want to register my name first so that it's before I actually do any of that. And I'd like to have the logo as well to put on Instagram and Facebook.
Yep.
And that part I'm going to struggle with because I absolutely hate Facebook.
I mean, there's definitely, lots of pluses for Facebook, for Instagram, I mean for social media, Pinterest, if you're, into that, or if you have a product. So I think that's necessary. I think in order for you to grow, get your name out there, I would start all that stuff sooner rather than later. And I think you guys know that I'm like such a proponent for Facebook groups. Getting people who are your ideal audience, who are relevant to your business in your group, so you can, lead them and interact with them and get to know them, have them get to know you, and, have that be not necessarily your sole means for selling your services or your product, but really utilizing that to get your name out there through those people, through word of mouth, through connections you'll make in the group. Connections are everything. So that, that's something we can talk about separately, trying to figure out, what group would be ideal for you. But I love the idea of Facebook groups. It's so much more personal than your business page. I mean, and I'm starting to love Instagram more. I didn't love it for a really long time, but I think because I felt like I wasn't that great on it. But I feel like I'm making way more of an impression now because I've learned more about it. So I definitely think utilizing Instagram as well, should be some sort of a priority. Getting on there and, growing your following, growing your audience.
That is on my list to, I guess, interact more on Instagram. I don't really do a lot on there. Even if you don't have
a logo, you can put something on there, put your picture, put something on there. And whatever your business name is, make sure that's available, and definitely get on there and get started.
Okay. And now when you do the Facebook, do you just do a business page, or do you do like a whole new account with?
I have a business page, and okay. you have to have your personal page. So I have my business page, and then I have a couple of groups. I actually have 2 pages because I have 2 separate things going on, but then I have a couple of groups too.
Okay.
And we can talk about Facebook and Facebook groups and Facebook pages another time. But I think that's important, just getting yourself out there and starting to connect with people. And I think everyone is on this major, connection kick because, we were on Facebook before and Instagram before, and we were, doing a little more than just local stuff. But now I feel like everyone is looking to connect with the people across the country and across the world, especially, birth professionals. And, if you're teaching, you can reach, if you're teaching childbirth then now, you're not only looking for local couples. There can be, clients all around the country because your classes are now virtual. So anyone, can hop on. And, if you're a labor doula, maybe you wouldn't be supporting them. Obviously they're far away, but connecting with other people on Facebook and Instagram or anywhere on social media. Now, you may know other doulas in different places that you can refer people to if they're not local to you and they're taking some of your classes. So really just, connecting. Karen.
Yeah.
What's the rest of your 2020 looking like? I feel like everybody on here seriously is in the middle of 32 certifications. You guys are awesome.
Yeah. I have probably about 4 or 5 more hours for the advanced NCS.
Yep.
I already did the foundational. That's done. Now I'm on to the advanced, and I only got like 4 hours left.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll probably get that done tomorrow.
Good.
Good. Then I have 2 births lined up. One in November, one in February.
Awesome.
So that'll help towards my labor doula certification with CAPA. I still have to go through, I did most of the online stuff with CAPA in regards to lactation, childbirth ed, postpartum, and labor doula.
Mm-hmm.
But I still got to do the essay part.
Yep.
And the coming up with the curriculum for the childbirth ed and the lactation, which me, I'm like, I'm not good at that. I can teach infant massage, no problem. It's because it's all hands on. It's the other stuff that I am having a hard time coming up with a curriculum for that.
And are you finding that you, in the next, month or two, that you're going to have time to dedicate to sit and do these things? Or are you feeling like there's not enough time?
No, I mean, there's definitely time. I mean, thankfully with my job, my full-time job, a good part of the time, I mean, I get my work done pretty much by 10 o'clock in the morning. And then I'm just there to either answer phones or do an odd thing here and there that my boss needs me to do.
Okay, so you have time.
It's just a matter of getting the ducks in a row to figure out where to start, how I want to teach, making sure I have all the right information.
I would get out a calendar and look at all the things you have to do and write down each day. I would break it down. And so at the end of each day, you only have, 1 or 2 parts to do. You will be shocked at how quick you're able to finish it up and how much less overwhelming it is when you break it down into, you know, days and one or two things each day. I feel like when I think about things that I have to do, I'm like, oh my God, there's not enough time in the day. When I write them down and I actually like put them into place, it's like 2 weeks and it could be done. Here I am thinking, oh my God, I'm never going to get done by like, you know, November. And if you really do break it down and get organized with it, I promise you it will be so much more manageable and you'll be shocked at how quick you get done.
Yeah, because I mean, I would love to be able to, in a perfect world, I would love to get all my certifications done. I mean, I know with postpartum, childbirth ed, and lactation, we also have to have, do so many of those as well, like the labor doula.
Yep.
So that's my other issue. Like, okay, how do I was able to getting great with this doc and doula Facebook group, and which is how I got my first 2 labor births, labor doulas clients. But postpartum and childbirth ed and stuff like that, because I'm not comfortable with the childbirth ed or the lactation to teach. And plus I need to connect with somebody that will let me kind of sit in on their class so I can teach the hour or whatever it is that you have to teach. I'm sure I could probably get a friend of mine to do like a thing that I'm teaching.
I think maybe a better way to go at this then would be to pick the postpartum doula and labor doula and have those be your 2 goals for the rest of 2020. I think you already have 2 of the births. I wonder if you could take those same clients and offer postpartum care for your hours, and because you're already getting to know them, they know you, they trust you, and then you can really work on some of the lactation stuff in there as well, and under like they know that you're working on the certification for it, so I think it's a little less stress for you, and I think I would make those goals. I would definitely make the labor doula and postpartum doula certifications your goals, and then chip away at the other parts.
Yeah. And then next year, it's more of like, okay, I want to do, the sleep consultant. I want to get that added in because that's going to work in perfect conjunction with the newborn care specialist. I mean, that's, and then the postpartum on top of that. I mean, it kind of it flows right through.
Yep.
And
the massage goes great with it too.
Yeah, I haven't done any massages only because right now with COVID, a lot of places are opened up, but we literally have to be in full PPE.
Yep.
Gloves, shield, gown.
My best friend's a massage therapist. I see pictures of her all the time. It's crazy, but it's necessary, but it's crazy. But yeah, so I think, I think 2020, you could knock it out of the park with that. And then, you already have some things, on the horizon for 2021. I love it. And I love how you can see that you can see how they're all going to work together. So I feel like that makes your bigger goals more clear when you have the parts, sort of in view that you want to build to the bigger goal. So that's just the start of how you're going to get there, the start of mapping your way to your end goal.
Yeah, and then also trying to rebrand the Soothing Serenity name to encompass the massage as well as all these other things, like how name-wise, do I add that in, and then getting that, because I already have an EIN number for Soothing Serenity Therapeutic Massage.
Yep.
I don't know what kind of paperwork that might have to go with adding that stuff in.
Yeah, so I think, adding one more thing to 2020 would be not necessarily rebranding all that, but figuring out the EIN piece and then figuring out exactly what parts you want to encompass. Because I like Soothing Serenity. I love your logo, but just figuring out how you're gonna, what you're gonna call your services to make sure people know that, what it includes.
Yeah, I was thinking like maybe like women's birthing services, or but that's not all inclusive. If I say women's,
we'll do another Zoom for bouncing those ideas for anyone who's looking to start a business, change a name, figure out a name. That'll be like a good creative Zoom.
Yeah, I'd like to be able to, because with my logo, I'd like to be able to add, like in silhouette, because it's a sunset of, like 2 parents with a baby bump, and maybe another baby on the hip kind of thing.
We'll do a creative Zoom. We'll do sure. We'll do a creative Zoom. And I'll make sure there's like lots of people on it who are creative. I'm not creative at all. Not creative at all. I can like picture things, but it never amounts to much. The creativity department is not my. And in college somewhere, I thought I was going to be an accountant. I wasn't, but I thoroughly enjoyed accounting. If that says anything about me. Jen, what do you have on?
Can I just mention something to Karen really quick?
Yeah, of course.
On your certifications, the births that you do for your labor doula, you can use those for your childbirth education as well. You don't you don't have to use separate births for those.
Yeah, but you have to teach the childbirth ed.
You also have to have 2 births for your childbirth education certification.
Oh no, that part I knew. That part, sorry, yeah, okay. That part I knew where I had to already have those, but it's the teaching part.
And then I found actually just last week in the Kappa conferences, somebody that was willing to let me just observe their classes and then do a student teaching in one of their classes.
Yeah, right now I'm taking a hypnobirthing class. I'm like watching because one of my clients, that's the childbirth education class she took, was a hypnobirthing. Yeah. So, and I knew nothing about it. So my mentor is letting me sit in on that.
Oh, okay.
Which is great. I don't know if I suppose she might be able to be willing to let me kind of teach, couple minutes here and there to kind of get in there.
All right.
I can ask her and find out.
Yeah, definitely find out. Add it to your list of to do.
Yeah.
Write it down. Jen, what do you have for the next couple of months? You have a lovely office, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, so organizing my goals is like a big thing right now. I have a lot of different things going on, so I'm just trying to, narrow it down a little bit for some certifications I'm working on. So I have my labor doula, postpartum, and childbirth educator. So I'm currently doing all of that work for my own business as well as a local hospital I teach for, and I'm one of their doulas. So I have that going on. What's that?
Are you in Danbury? Is that
no, I'm at Manchester Hospital.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got my infant massage certification to teach this year. That was done in February before all of this broke loose with COVID. So I haven't actually been able to do hands-on teaching with that yet. So I am working on, at least there's kind of a deadline for that. We're going to have classes offered and it's all going to print right now. So I have to be ready to teach by March. Whether we'll be in person or not, who knows? But my biggest thing now is that, I don't really like the handouts that were part of the program to make copies for parents. I want to create my own. And I had mentioned that, I think, in the Facebook thing. I'm struggling with some of the business aspects. I have all of the, the connection and the knowledge and the working with people. It's doing more of the office stuff and creating my own things that I'm kind of floundering with. I'm also working on my, I took an infant sleep educator course that was really intense, a lot of work, and I want to finish my certification for that. Mm-hmm. But that one, having both of them going at once and trying to create the massage program and, still doing all the regular work I'm doing, like, it just feels a little unorganized. So I think 2021 is going to be the year to wrap up my infant sleep educator certification. I'm already working with families on sleep, but I have my case study and I just need to sit down and write it all. I mean, it's just breaking it down. So if I can, like you had mentioned, the suggestions of chunking it down are great. Like every day I'm like, all right, I'm going to work on my PowerPoint for infant massage. And then the day goes by, you know, or I'll get wrapped up in something else. So it's
Story
breaking
of my
down.
life, and story of my life.
Yeah, exactly. It's like breaking down those little goals to get that done. And I always do. When I have a deadline, I work well to get it done, but it's just, I also, fourth quarter, I slow down a little bit with my own business because, you know, you had mentioned earlier on, we have a family Christmas tree farm. So our life turns upside down and I help with everything there. So I slow down and I have like one birth client a month during these months and not any in December because of the commitment I have with the family farm. So I really want to get some more massage stuff mapped out and done so that when January comes, I'm not in a panic to hurry up and do it by March. You know, I just want to feel organized. So luckily I've been teaching for 3 years. So I feel like the teaching part I have, it's just that it's new material. I haven't taught this hands-on yet. So practicing and doing all of that. So yeah, and I do want to get an Instagram. I'm not, you know, I currently have a Facebook page. I definitely want to learn more about doing groups. I think I have a lot of like-minded clients that'd be nice to kind of get them together so they could feel supported, especially in the area of sleep and helping them understand their babies and all of that. So really trying to take my business from, you know, it started as birth doula, postpartum doula, and childbirth ed to carrying on even further with the infant massage and sleep education because I just find so many of my clients stay in touch with me long-term. I'd like to just be able to be like a full spectrum doula service with everything that I can share knowledge on all of that. So I'm just trying to break it down. It's kind of overwhelming at times. There's a lot of work for the infant sleep educator program and I've done a lot of it, but there's just a lot more. So
I'm just going to say good night to Karen. She has to.
Night, guys. I got to hop off. It was good seeing you, though.
Good night.
Night.
Yeah, Jen, I think what would really be helpful for you is to get out a calendar and write down what you're going to accomplish each day. And I would start off with, you know, a small thing for, you know, a week and then say, okay, that was super overwhelming. I can only do one thing every other day. Or like, hey, this was easy and I had a lot of time left over. Next week, I'm going to pop 2 things in, you know, the days. So I feel like making them manageable so you don't go to sleep and be like, oh my God, tomorrow, like, how am I going to get this done? You know, you can get up and say, okay, like I'm going to sit down and start this, get a cup of coffee or whatever, and have it be manageable. If something pulls you away, then you still have time to get it done. Just being realistic, I think, makes it so much easier, even if it takes a longer time frame. Just to be, you know, like you said, you know, December is, you're slowing down a ton. So the more you can get done before that, then all of a sudden it's January and, you know.
Yeah, and that's how I felt like this year went. I thought, you know, I did all of my training all spring. I was doing my weekly classes with infant sleep education and all of that. And I thought, oh, the summer is going to be great. I'm going to sit down and nail all of this. And then summer came and there were other things that came up and didn't, you know, it kind of got snowballed. And I think part of it too, and listening to everybody, we often have multiple certifications or things going on. And I think that's where it makes you even feel like you're spread a little bit thinner. And I thought, well, I do need to just, obviously I'm going to start teaching the massage classes first. That's more important. But then also, I want to add those pages to my, you know, website. So more services that I'm offering. So when I look at the whole picture of it, business-wise, I get overwhelmed. So I do think definitely breaking it down, and even sometimes sitting down to break it down is overwhelming.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's what's, you know, and just like I said, not having the tech knowledge or just even creating, like I mentioned, the handouts, I need some help with that. Making my own stuff because I'm using a lot of different things for teaching and I want to start making my own things.
I have to email you the Canva thing.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
I didn't write it down. Shocking. And I forgot. Yeah, I have some Canva templates that are excellent for multiple page handouts.
Yes.
And then you obviously make it your own, you know, like I don't want the one that's like peach and green. Like I want to make it my own, and you can change the colors and all that stuff. And I have like PDF handouts that go with all of my classes that are basically outlines, but lots of space, you know, for writing notes. And, you know, so it's, as you're listening to the courses, you're jotting down notes for each, you know, part, and then you can go back and look. And yeah, I think handouts are so important, especially when they're uniform and they're all yours.
Yeah, that's what I want.
you know, and you're going to be, you know, emailing them out to people now, and you're not going to be doing everything, you know, in person. So you want it to look nice and be one easy file that people can, you know, take and utilize. So I think, you know, we have the rest of 2020 covered. Everyone has a lot to do. And then, you know, it sounds like you have everyone has lots of small things going on, and 2021 is going to be the year where they finally gel together, and then you can start, you know, whatever it is you're starting. So, you know, Jen, you're going to be starting a business where you could potentially take a client from, you know, childbirth ed through labor, through postpartum, through massage, through sleep. Whereas before it was bits and pieces and choppy, and, you know, you weren't done with everything yet, but, you know, you soon will be wrapping everything up, and then you can just literally take off with that business. You know, Kara, the same thing, Lauren, the same thing, Bobby, the same thing. Everyone is working on all of the parts simultaneously to come together and be able to serve one client with multiple services, which is amazing. You know, there's a whole part in the Business for Birth Professionals digital course about, you know, client relations and what can we do for our clients that we can keep them for a longer period of time. So I'm a postpartum doula, but I don't want things to end at, you know, 9 weeks or 10 weeks. So for me personally, I can do childbirth education. I can do labor. I mean, not right now, I'm not doing that, but, you know, I can do postpartum. I can do lactation. At some point, I would love to do some, you know, sleep consulting. Not on the books for right now, but, you know, what else can I do for my clients the rest of the year? What I can do for them and what I do all the time is I do lots of cooking for my postpartum clients long after they are, you know, postpartum. I help them out when they go back to work and everyone's working full time and they need some whole healthy meal prep. I also work a lot with clients when they're still breastfeeding a toddler and they get pregnant again. So what does that look like? Or they want to wean at some point. So I do lots of extensive breastfeeding, you know, extensive lengthy breastfeeding counseling, but that just happens to be, you know, it's not something that I market, you know, on its own. It's my clients who I had postpartum and lactation and all that. But there's room for infant massage. There's room for nutrition stuff, you know, starting solids, things like that. People love guidance with the nutrition piece and how to go about if they're interested in baby-led weaning or other stuff. So there's so many things we can do for our clients. And I love that you guys are doing multiple things for your clients. So you'll be able to have these clients for a lengthy period of time with multiple services that you can offer. So you can offer them as single services, you can offer them as packages. I mean, there's so much you can do. And at some point, when your client load gets too big for just, you know, your two hands, you could contract other birth professionals to your business, like an agency or like some sort of collective. You're already offering all of those services, so you can add other people to those services. So now you have 3 postpartum doulas, 2 labor doulas, you know, 6 people who do sleep consulting, whatever that looks like. Your business already offers all of those services. So you can just add the number of people that are, you know, offering those services on behalf of your business. So there's so much potential for growth when you have more services in your business. Does that make sense? Is that exciting? Is that exciting to you? Anna, what do you do besides labor and postpartum for your agency?
We do lots of classes, placenta encapsulation. We do labor classes, breastfeeding classes. I teach bringing home baby. We do placenta encapsulation, and then our Chicago store has like a boutique as well, but that's just kind of an afterthought more than a focus. But yeah, I'd say labor and postpartum is definitely our primary, and then we do sleep training and help with that as well.
Is it your postpartum doulas that are doing the sleep training, or you have like specific people who only do sleep consulting?
I have specific doulas who are trained in sleep training that kind of step in and train, but they also might have other families as well.
Are people asking for that as a separate service, or is it more of your postpartum clients who are looking for more at the 4 or 5 month mark?
Yeah, I'd say it's mostly our postpartum families that probably initially hired us thinking, oh, sure, you know, I need a few weeks of support
Yeah.
and then my baby's going to sleep. And we're like, yeah, that's not how this works. And we break it to them. And then eventually they
Come back.
yeah, then they're like, you know what, I think we need, you know, we can't keep doing all this postpartum help. I think we need to sleep train. So
yeah, that is how it works.
Yeah, but I'm all for
one thing, and then we tell them what it really is like.
Yeah. But you're right. I mean, I feel like I forget that saying, like necessity is the greatest inventor or something like that. But it is like the more you work with a family, the more you're like, why am I sending them to this person for this? I should be able to facilitate that myself. That's kind of how my business evolved. It was like, okay, I want to be able to do it all, but
it's so true. It's so true. When you think of the things that your clients need that you're referring out for, and then you're like, why aren't I doing this? Or why don't I have someone, you know, providing this service? And it's so true. Like the best example is the planner that I created. I could never find a planner that was like perfect for my agency, my business, you know, all of that. And I was always like doing multiple things. I'm like, okay, I take all the good parts of all the planners that I love and I stick them in one, because that's what I need. So out of that necessity, I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna, if I can't find anyone else to do it, I'm just gonna do it myself. But I find that now with the sleep piece, you know, either, you know, sleep consulting is just like being broadcasted more, that or word of mouth more, or I don't know what's happening, but more and more of our clients are asking right off the bat, like, you know, will you have someone available for me like in 5 or 6 months? And this is like before the baby even comes. Does my postpartum doula do that or whatever? So that's been such a focus. So I'm like, okay, you know, shifting gears. We have a few doulas who do it, but you know, I would love to have people solely for the purpose of just doing sleep consulting. And then you can market it as such. So that's become like a huge, you know, ask of clients, even before they know that they're not going to get any sleep, when they still are pregnant and able to nap when they want to. So I feel like that, yeah, that's going to be a 2021, you know, goal of mine, because people are asking for it. And you hate to say, well, we don't do it, but you know, I can point you in the direction of someone who does. Like, we should be doing it, especially when the capabilities are there. For sure. All right, so I feel like we're good for the next 3 months. I feel like everyone has some solid goals. Write them down. Get out your calendar. Write them down daily so you can accomplish them. And then, you know, it sounds like too, like I said, the 2021 goals are just putting it all together and, you know, shooting it out to the universe. And you have a 2022 goal. You know, if you could say to yourself now, I'm going to get all my ducks in a row and all the things I want to accomplish, I'm going to accomplish. What is your 2-year? What does your 2-year goal look like? And I'm shooting for the end of 2022, but you know, you will accomplish everything. Your business will come together and you will grow it in 2021. You will become comfortable with all the services that you're providing. What's the next step? What do you want to see happen in 2022? You know, because you're all gonna, like I said, your businesses are all gonna come together. You're gonna be busy with clients, doing a multitude of, you know, services that you offer. And I hope that all of your clients want all of your services. So you'll be extra busy. But what does 2022 look like? What is the next step after your business comes together and you have a year to grow it and to get it moving?
For me, like, I think 2021 is going to be focused solely on like NCS work and on sleep consulting. Kind of the me personally going to them or being online with them, you know, sort of things. But I think eventually I would like to start doing like courses and trainings and stuff. So, and kind of growing more into toddlerhood sort of things. You mentioned some of them, baby-led weaning and nutrition, positive discipline, even like children finances would be fun. So because I have a lot of experience with older kids as well from being a professional nanny. And so there's a lot of things that I've picked up that like really don't come into play with, you know, newborns. So I'd like to have things that like I offer as like little mini courses or whatever, little webinars or whatnot.
And there's so many ways that you can do that. You could do single digital courses and sell them. You could have a YouTube channel that requires a monthly membership. So for however many dollars per month, everyone gets access to all of your videos, and you're constantly adding new stuff, and you're coming out with things weekly, or you're going live in a Facebook group that requires a monthly membership fee. I mean, there's so many ways to create a revenue stream from those webinars or mini classes.
Sure. Yeah. I think another thing that's on my mind, and it, like some of those, like some ideas are like bigger, so they would be like paid things, and then other things are just kind of to like create awareness that this is what I do, you know? So I'm really involved at my church, so I'd love to do some classes there, you know, ABCs of sleep or whatever, just so people know that, you know, I'm a professional in that area, you know, and get some recognition there. And then
newsletter or a Facebook group, or see if you could do a little "Hey, I'm Lauren," you know, blurb, and say this is what you do, and you know, you're either happy to answer questions, or maybe you could do like a free, you know, weekly talk for 4 weeks in a row, or once a month or something, just to get people to know you and to become familiar with you and trust you. And
they all know me.
Then you could, from there, you know, offer some paid stuff, or they're passing your name off. Or, I mean, make sure they know exactly what you do and what your purpose is, you know, for these weekly talks, or, I mean, that's great.
They often have like classes that people teach during the first service, parenting classes and stuff like that. So I could definitely get into that as well once we get back to normal. Hopefully by 2022 we're back to normal, going back to church. But and then I've had a few Facebook groups reach out to me to be an admin on their groups. I think it's just way too much on my plate right now to focus on like being an admin of 2 groups.
So I'm gonna say no.
Yeah. Definitely practicing saying no. But one is a nanny group and another is a baby-led weaning group.
You know, that makes me think too, like, and you know, obviously we're not talking about marketing now, but I feel like it always naturally goes in that direction. Getting into some groups and, you know, having the group admin. My house is so old, my floors are uneven, so my chair is constantly rolling back, if you're wondering what I'm doing. I'm trying to get myself back to my desk. Do some interviews in there, you know, maybe write some guest articles, or so don't be an admin, don't be responsible for anything like regularly in a group, but get in there and offer, you know, an interview or a video, make a video and post it in there. Who else wants to talk about the following year? So the year after your business is killing it with just you.
I would like to have an office space and be able to afford that and supporting my family in 2022. So that's where I want to be at that year.
It's one of those things where when you get an office space, you have to definitely, you know, have big goals for that office space, because you need the revenue from that space to make it worth you having it. Plus, you know, still being able to financially support whatever you need to financially support The best thing that I have going on for office space right now is I rent an office space in a chiropractic office, but I sublet it out to a bunch of people who, see perinatal clientele. So we have like a pelvic floor person, we have a therapist, we have an IBCLC. So it's everyone working really with the same clientele. So it's beneficial for all of us because we're sharing. We're referring back and forth all the time.
I don't think that would be a possibility in the area that I'm in, but I would like to offer classes and stuff there to,
Yeah, absolutely.
offset some of that cost. But
Kara, what's your biggie? What's your big goal that's going to take you 2 years to reach?
Goodness, I'm still trying to think about the rest of this year.
I just skipped you the rest of this year, and I skipped 2021.
Yeah.
I know what your business is going to be like in 2021. So I want to look at the following. What's the outlook for growth after you get moving and you feel comfortable and you have consistent revenue and you have consistent clients and you're feeling like, all right, I got this. Time to get comfortable again after that. Once you're comfy, you got to get uncomfy. You can't get too comfortable.
Yeah, you're right. Once I get like really focusing on new clients and stuff, because I want to be able to, all the certifications I have, I want to be able to use all of them with the families. But one thing I really want to do after all this is done is to be a midwife assistant. So that would be later on, probably 2022 to do.
So I think maybe 2022 could be the year where you start to really think about that seriously. Like you start to actually, get that in a forward motion. Right now it's an awesome thought, and no doubt you're going to get there, but let 2022 be the time where you like write that down on paper and like start filling out some applications, and that's perfect. I love that. And it's such a good like next step. You did all the certifications, you have time working with families, and you'll continue to work with families, but now you've set your sights on something a little bit bigger. And also something you can do, that's bigger, but also continue to run your business, whether you're running it and doing the work yourself, or you're running it and you have a couple of other people in there doing the work on your behalf. There is so much potential in that.
Yeah. So got to get there, but because I always think about things I want to do, and then I get to a point where I want to do them all at once, and so I'm learning that's like not right a good thing to do right now.
Your current situation. Yeah, but it's good though. It's good if you have a lot of things that you want to accomplish, and if you have the time right now, you pick a couple, you do them, and as long as you stay organized, I feel like that is the key to all of this, is staying organized in the work that you're doing for each one, and making sure that you're, perpetually moving forward with progress on each one. So that, the organization piece is key. Jen, 2022. So 2021, you're gonna, weave all these things together into one business, and you're gonna be working with clients doing multiple things. What is this a step after that?
I think it would be maybe doing some type of e-course or offering something. That's way out of my comfort zone. I've been teaching virtually since March, so that's not, but I don't really understand all the workings behind it, and even just, I have a friend who's really encouraging me to, step out. She's like, you could be, people could be buying your course or your little talk on, infant sleep education. I think that's probably my biggest one. I took the infant sleep educator program that I took because of all of the sleep deprivation concerns I was hearing in my baby care classes. And I really want to help parents understand before their newborns are born what brain developmentally wise is going on with their babies. Like, why are they waking? Why is it necessary? Like, what What are all those reasons? I feel like people can handle the night wakings and coping with that if they understand biologically why they're happening. So I think I found so many folks that I've already talked to already who want to trust their gut on how to deal with sleep. And by talking with them and encouraging them to listen to their babies and things like that, I just see their confidence like booming. So if I can.
That's like the perfect e-course, because I don't know anything that's out there right now that is exactly that.
Well, the course that I took was given by a neuroscientist. So I learned a lot of the scientific research as to why this is happening and why it's normal and what we can do to cope.
And so as a professional, that worked for you, but no parent's going to want to listen to that. They're not going to want to listen to a neuroscientist. They're going to want to listen to their doula.
Right.
In new parent terms, and make it simple and make it easy to understand, for sure.
Exactly.
You're that translator to make that e-course for the parents. So this neuroscientist made it for the professionals.
Right.
And now you're turning around and making it for the parents. I love it.
Exactly. And bite-sized pieces so they can understand it. And I found that even now that I've incorporated some of my sleep knowledge into my baby care classes, it's like the light bulbs, like the parents they're just relieved to hear, because they're just fed so much information and pushed by family and friends to do certain things that they're not comfortable with. And I can just reassure them and help them know that there's a lot of different options. So I feel like that could be like a stretch for 2022 to kind of work on that. Yeah.
So I think that I don't think that has to wait until 2022. I think you can take 2021 to get that moving and to start the curriculum piece for that. Because again, if it's going out to new parents, it's not going to be like a 5-hour
Exactly.
course. It's going to be pretty simple, pretty foundational, pretty surface. And I'm not saying that parents are intelligent at all. I'm just saying they don't have the mental capacity and they don't want anything more than just surface stuff. They want to learn about how it's going to be relevant to them and their baby, and that's it. So it's not a huge undertaking. I mean, and you could start creating revenue from that like pretty soon. It's just the writing down the curriculum and taping it, essentially.
Right. And I did through Kappa, I did your course, I took your seminar on that, on, doing e-courses and took a lot of notes, but it's just for me, because like I said before, the technology piece isn't there for me. It seems like I don't even know, how do you start writing it down? It's like breaking it down into chunks. I need more, it's not hand holding, but I guess it is more like step 1, step 2, this is what you do, instead of like, oh my gosh, how do I put all of what I have here and record it, so I need a little more detail as to steps, I think, from myself.
For you, one of your goals for next year should be starting a Facebook group for new well, you could do 2 things. I think that would be really awesome. You could do a Facebook group for parents, which is only a finite amount of time that they're in there caring about sleep. But you could also do one for professionals, for birth professionals. You could have a group for birth professionals who are interested. It's not a certification. It's not, necessarily a class that they're taking, but you are educating them on how to talk to their clients about newborn sleep.
That's a great idea. I like that. Thanks for the
And essentially those are going to be the people also, like you're creating a course for parents, but you can also create a course for professionals. So it's a mini course on how they can add some of that language into what they're talking to their clients about. And that would be the people who are going to buy your course. So you essentially are growing this Facebook group of potential buyers of a digital course that you have yet to create, but will. But you're also getting to know them. You're educating them, daily and weekly, and you're coming on and doing lives, and you're really creating this, community of birth professionals who are interested in the science behind sleep.
That's awesome. Thanks. It seems like a huge undertaking, but again, if I break it down piece by piece,
and it's not, you start the group and you work on stuff weekly. You don't have to plan out a year's worth of content. And sometimes in the business group, I fly right by the seat of my pants, and I just sort of think of stuff daily and post it. And I wait for people to ask questions too sometimes to create content. What are people asking about? What do people want to know? Oh, well, we're starting quarter 4 tomorrow. Let's talk about goals the night before. And it all makes sense when I do it. but I don't plan out a whole lot. I just sort of see what the need is and try to fill it ASAP. It's 9:20, so I feel like people may not want to hang on much longer. But there's, the organization for goal writing, goal setting is the first step. Get your goals on paper. And, I call it a brain dump, and I think everyone else calls it the same thing. You basically take a piece of paper or a notebook and you follow, let it follow you around for a week. And whatever you're trying to figure out, whether it's your goals or the next e-course or whatever you're doing, write everything down that comes to mind. Scribble every single solitary thought down, even if it's stupid, even if it's ridiculous, even if it's amazing. I mean, whatever it is, write it all down. Do not cross out one thing until the following week, when you have an hour to yourself. You sit down, you go through your entire scribble list. Then you cross out things that are utterly ridiculous and are never going to happen. And then you start to categorize some of the things that are could-be's, are definites, are I love it, but not this year, whatever that looks like. And then you cross off a couple of more things. And then you end up with 5 or 6 amazing goals or amazing ideas that you're actually going to put to paper, and you're going to finesse them, and you're going to help them come to fruition in a sequential order that makes sense for your life. But you started off with, 72 scribbles, and you end up with 5 things that are going to be, things that you, that are worth pursuing for yourself. So that's how I like to do it. And I think too, what I wanted to add, for you guys on here, I know a lot of you looked at the Business for Birth Professionals course. It comes in super handy, I think, for all of the stuff that you guys are talking about, trying to organize your business, trying to figure out which direction you're going to go, how to market it, how to connect with people, questions about social media. So I wanted to, sorry, I'm glad we're not together and I wouldn't be coughing near you. I wanted to open up the cart for 24 hours. So people were asking me last week, I think it closed on Tuesday, and it won't open for real again until January. But for everybody watching and everyone who hung out until the end, you get 24 hours to purchase the course. And then you can see all that goes into a digital course. But anyway, does anyone have any more questions? Before I choke to death. Anybody? All right. So I'm going to get going. You can always post in the comments, and yeah, hit me up if you need anything else. Excuse me. All right. Good night, guys.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye. Sorry, my little one dropped in.
Oh my God, that was the cutest thing ever.
Oh, God. She's my wild child. If you